I am Jen, and this is Obi. He is my retired competition obedience dog. Since I've retired him, we've had a lot of questions on how we've trained some of the exercises for AKC competition obedience. So I thought that I'd run through a lot of the stuff with fronts and backs today with dogs. So I'm going to use him as an example. We use a lot of food. I'm just using plain kibble because he is really food motivated, so anything that is high scent or high value to him can sometimes overstimulate him. One of the things, come here, bud. Sit. One of the things that really helps when having a competition dog is to have a very high energy, highly food motivated dog. Now that's not a prerequisite to having or competing with a competition dog, but it really helps in the training and it makes it fun. The more motivated they are, the easier things are. So let's get started today with the front. So the first thing we do is we use food. And I use a marker word, which is kind of like a clicker, but it's verbal, and my marker word is yes. And as soon as I say yes, then I deliver the treat within 2 seconds. That just marks the behavior and lets him know that exactly what he's doing is right. I haven't worked with him in a while, so our timing might be a little off, but hopefully watching, you'll have fun with your dog doing the same thing. You ready, bud? I'm going to lure him into the front position. Front, yes. Now at this point, we've already taught him the front, of course, because he's been competing, but we've also taught him sit. So if I was working with a dog that did not know front, learning the sit automatically as soon as I say it the first time, every time. So for instance, he's going to do it anyway. Down. Good. Sit. Yes. Stand. Good. Sit. Yes. So if you see every time that I tell him to sit, he sits automatically. I don't have to correct him to sit. I don't have to lure him with the treat to sit. I don't have to push his bottom down to sit. I don't have to do anything funny to get him to sit. I just verbally tell him to sit and he sits the first time. That's kind of a prerequisite to teaching the front when you're doing competition work. So it really helps when being able to lure them with the treat into the front. Sit, yes. Now he's a little crooked, so we want to work on fixing that. One of the ways that we can work on fixing that, wait, is to use these boards. The boards will start out angled, and as he's used to coming into what I call the chute, then we will take the boards and move them closer and closer together so that he is coming in completely straight. Now he's used to working with these about 5 years ago, so hopefully he won't jump over the boards or whatnot. Leave it. Good, leave it. Obi front. And I use the treat to get him in a little closer. Front. You know what you're doing. Yeah. And he's crooked, so we're not going to mark that. Let's try that over. Sit. Wait. So again, other commands, basic commands like wait. I don't use stay because stay means you're not going to do something afterwards. Wait means we're going to be moving next. That's just kind of a personal preference thing. Front. Yes. Yes. So the goal of the front is to have him coming in straight and sitting not angled. Sit. Go ahead, wait. So if I was standing here and he's here, this is what's called a crooked front. So we want to work on fixing that. And how we do that is we take the treat and we lure him into the front position, and then when he gets the straight front, then we mark it. So it looks like this. Front. Yes. Good. Okay. So we just practice that and practice that and practice that. As much sorry about that video cutting out. That's kind of something that happens once in a while with cell phones. But another thing that we can do with the chute is resetting them and not having to constantly go out, put them on a sit, put them on a wait, come back through the chute. So we can reset them with food. Obi, here. Boy. Obi, front. Yes. Good job. Good job. Now, see how he's backing up and then sitting? We want to get away from that. So we don't want to reward him. One of the two things that I see as a problem with throwing the food and resetting, and you'll have to kind of juggle this with your dog, is that they can start searching for food on the floor. So if that happens, you might want to work something out different with your dog. The other thing that can happen is that they back up like he's doing in anticipation of the food being thrown to reset him. So if that happens, then you're just going to have to manually reset the dog with the sit and the wait before you reset the exercise. The other thing that you can do with fronts and getting them straight is just repeated short little fronts. You ready? Yeah. Front. Yes. And you want to make sure that every one of these is straight, set, dead on. Good boy. And I like eye contact in the front. And you can do that by teaching your dog watch. But we just do this over and over and over again. Front. Yes. And I do use food as a lure, even in upper level training, just because I don't want to create a systematic repetition of mistakes. And, you know, since these dogs are being trained for all sorts of different things, we want to use food to keep them motivated. Front? Yes. Okay. So one last thing about the chute. It is easier if you have, these are jump posts, but it is easier if you have something that doesn't have these big ends on it. If you just have two jump bars, that works as well. Because when these start coming closer, these can look intimidating, especially to a small dog. One of the things that you don't want to have happen is that you don't want to set the dog and have them come and jump over the bar. So never mark that. And sometimes when working on jumps with dogs, that can happen. They can see this as a jump because these are the posts that we use for jumps. So sometimes they'll look at that as a clear picture to go ahead and jump, and we just have to reset them and work on that and having them just come through the chute area this way. So that's all for fronts today. I hope that you've learned something new and can add it to your training. So thank you, and I hope you enjoy, and tune in next time.